Today, we're just going to go. Colin Gray is here, and this is going to be awesome. I can't believe it. Feel free to grunt, Colin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot to warn my guests that it's okay to grunt in the beginning of the episode, but, you know, little details, right? Anyway, welcome to the Podcast Engineering Show. My name is Chris Curran. I produce podcasts for big companies, medium companies, and every week on this show, we bring you podcast production techniques on a silver platter. We talk shop. We really go in deep to the audio production aspects of podcast production, and we talk to podcast producers, engineers, and specialists. I have a background in the music industry as an engineer with a bunch of album credits and all that cool stuff. And real quick, I want to mention Podcast Engineering School. The course is the next semester is going to actually start on April 16th. So you probably knew that. I mean, if you listen to this show. And these days I'm putting out an episode every week and alternating between guest interviews and like a summary, I guess, of the little blog posts I'm doing, which I'm calling the Daily Goodie. So anyway, let me know if you like the in-between episodes, like every other week when I sort of overview all the daily goodies that I've blogged about. Let me know if you like that. I actually haven't heard from anyone if they like that or not. And I know I see people signing up for the email list to get the daily goodie, but I literally haven't heard from one person saying, "Oh, these are cool, thanks," or "Oh, these are garbage." Well, I guess there is that one guy who's really just bashed me and complained, and anyway, that's a whole nother story. Colin, what are you supposed to do with people like that who you're giving them free stuff and you're giving them good stuff, and then it's just not enough? They got to complain.
Do you know what? It's exactly like you say there. You put stuff out into the world, you've no idea what's going on with it. So generally, even if it's complete and utter torrent of abuse, I just soak it up. I'm like, that's amazing. I love this feedback. Give me feedback of any kind.
Well, I liked it too, partially because I could. It gave me something to talk about on the air. Like, it was kind of funny. But anyway, Colin Gray, you are in Dundee, Scotland. That's right.
That is right. That is right.
And who knows? You're the second person now that I know in Scotland. So, and my wife and I are planning to visit someday. So I'm gonna have to bring my my microphones to Scotland, I think.
Excellent. Oh, we've got plenty here. Don't you worry. You come with the voice, and we can supply the microphones.
I bet. Oh, that's great. Well, I bet a lot of people who visit Scotland, like you know those podcasts where they just like drink beer and talk about the beer they're drinking. I bet they would do really well in Scotland, right?
Yeah, they do. They do very well. And there's even more in England, actually. There's, the UK in general does like a good ale.
I always thought that's a pretty cool podcast. Like you hang out with 2 or 3 people and you just, like, you taste beer, but then of course you're just drinking beer and
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and it slowly degrades over the course of the episode, so that by the end of it, it's just completely illegible. Yeah,
yeah. Like they just forget about the mics. They're like 3 feet away from the mics and stuff.
Yeah, just knocking stuff over all over the place.
So you are running this website, thepodcasthost.com, and check it out, everybody. If you're listening to this, go to thepodcasthost.com. There'll be a link in the description, obviously, frankly. That's my imitation of someone doing an imitation of someone else. Ben Feingold doing an imitation of Hikaru Nakamura, the famous chess player. All right, anyone? Nothing?
I'm sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. So thepodcasthost.com, you guys put out all kinds of blog posts, and you have courses on there too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've been running the site since 2011 now, actually. So we've got 500 plus blog posts, a bunch of podcasts on there, and a set of courses inside our academy as well.
All right, cool. And man, I'm drinking this tea. I'm drinking this. I like when you drink tea or coffee. Like sometimes it makes you physically hot, right?
Yeah, I get that. Especially because the place where we work is usually absolutely freezing. Like when I arrive at work, it's maybe -2 actually inside the room.
Wow.
So we have to put the heaters on full blast. And generally I combine that with a coffee, sometimes overblow it and end up sweating.
Right, that's the thing. It's like if it's cold and you need to warm up, that's awesome. But if it's normal temperature or even hot, and you drink coffee or tea, and then you just start burning up.
Yeah,
I just started burning up here. So anyway, you're also the host of Podcraft. That's a show you do with your buddy Matthew, and you also do a show called Hostile Worlds. And so and both those shows can be found at thepodcasthost.com, right?
They can, yeah. If you go to thepodcasthost.com, they're top right, you'll see a menu to our podcasts. So they're good. They're very different. Podcraft is just me and Matthew rambling on about how to run a good show. But Hostile Worlds is Matthew and I pretending to be in a spaceship and flying around the solar system. So, yeah, a little bit different audiences, but both good fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so if you're listening to this and you're like thinking, Chris, where is the speed round? Where is it? Well, it's coming. We're going to do the speed round with Colin Gray in a second. But I real quick, you also made a podcast app, and it's called Alitu. So it's ALITU.com, Alitu.com. Tell us about that. Because what's funny is I already told you, Colin, because before we started recording this, you told me about your shows and the app, and I'm like, I haven't heard of any of this, and I'm like so excited to try it now. So anyway, hopefully the listeners can try too. So tell us about
this. This is just a terrible indictment of my marketing. Obviously, you have no idea what I'm doing.
No, I had seen the word before. I'd seen the link or the word. Maybe it's when I went to your website.
No, the app's only been out. I mean, we released Alitu back in June last year. So what's that? 8 months or so. And it's so it was a web app originally where it's helping you to produce a podcast. Essentially, it's really designed for beginners. So I'm not sure if it'll even be really your audience, Chris, because your guys and girls are much more advanced, I would have said. But it's for people really just coming into podcasting. All they have to do is do the recording. They upload that recording to us. We do all the processing for them automatically. So we do the leveling, normalization, we do the compression, EQ, all that stuff. And then they can do editing right inside the app in a really sort of simple interface. And then they can publish from there too. So it was really designed to bypass the need for a DAW for all those people that come to us and say, I don't like Audacity, I hate Audition, it's too complicated. So that was the idea. It was really to simplify the tech around podcasting, and that's what it's for.
Well, it looks great. I haven't tried. I'm going to try it. I'll let everyone know what I think of it.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback, yeah.
Yeah, and so the other thing is, this is one of those things, like the big news recently, and by the time this episode comes out, it's not going to be recent news, but Spotify just bought Anchor. And so Anchor, of course, is another app that tries to make it really super easy for people. So maybe you should like put like a $50 million price tag on Alitu and sell it to Spotify. Well, come on, let's do it.
I've thought about it. Get in touch with the competition. Maybe go to Apple and say, "Excuse me, Apple, see how Spotify have bought up Anchor." Well, I've got an alternative tool, a snip at 80 million for.
Yeah. It's a bargain. Come on.
Yeah.
Barry, exactly, you think you should sell Alitu for, $50 or $80 million?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, Barry makes his appearance.
I
just thought of Barry this morning because Barry's actually in my gratitude list, like the one I read every morning.
Right.
Barry made the list. And so did all the listeners of this show, by the way, and all the guests of this show. You're all in my gratitude list, but I just thought it was every morning I just look at Barry on the list. I'm like, yeah, Barry's awesome.
Yeah, you can't deny Barry's got the best voice in podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, Barry, what is someone going to need? Like Colin, for instance, if Colin wanted to develop his voice, what is Colin going to need to really to make his voice a lot more rich and creamy and buttery like yours?
You're going to need a couple of horses or a couple of mules.
Okay. There's definitely a field of horses close by. What do we do with them?
Oh, forget it.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
All right. I don't know why I find that so funny today, but Colin, let's get into the speed round. So the speed round is where we want to know when you're about to record a podcast, you got your mic set up and you got all your equipment plugged in and you hit record, and take us from your microphone through all the equipment, into this, like, tell us what software you're using, and then just quickly overview the post-production all the way up until you upload the MP3, just real quick.
Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, so I'm on our main setup. We've got a studio. I'm lucky enough to have a space in our office, so a separate room where we've set up our audio studio, because we do so much recording, production, and stuff here at the Podcast Host that we can justify it. And in here we've got 3 mics on the PSA-1 boom arms, Rode ones, and we've got the Rode Procasters these days. We upgraded them recently, actually. We went from, I used to have an MXL 990 years back, then upgraded to the Procasters pretty recently. So yeah, running 3 of them in here just now on the boom arms, and they all go into a Yamaha MG10 mixer, which then goes out to our Zoom H5. We've got a Zoom H5 and a Zoom H6, but we keep the H6 for getting out and about. So the H5 is what actually records the show. So I don't record into software, actually. We record directly into the H5 and then just take that from, take the card out of there, stick it in the computer and edit from there. And I've got in here as well, we're recording into, so right now I'm on a Mac Mini talking to you. So really the mixer is connected up to the Mac Mini line out, Mac Mini back into the mixer for Skype calls or Zoom or whatever it is we use. And really that's how the studio functions. That's the main setup.
Nice. And then so you record into the Zoom and Zoom H5 or H6, depending on where you are. And so now overview the post-production. Like when you're ready to do post, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, Matthew does most of that for us. So it's me and Matthew in the office here. It's the Podcast Host I started years back, but Matthew came on board about 3 years ago, and he studied sound design, audio engineering back in uni. So it's him that I hand off to. I have the luxury of being able to hand off my post-production, although I still do a bit of it myself, just for fun. But he takes it into, we use Audition. We're Adobe Audition really all the way through with us. He sometimes puts it through iZotope. You come across that?
Yeah, iZotope. I use all kinds of iZotope stuff. It's great.
Cool. Yeah. So he sometimes puts it through that just for the kind of first processing, take out some of the noise, the lip smacks, all that kind of stuff. It's just great for that first pass, isn't it? Just to make it all sound good.
Yeah, you're talking about RX7 or even RX6. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yes. Yeah. So puts it through that and then into Audition from there. And then all our editing really is in Audition. I mean, that's the software we use, really. I'm not sure, is there anything in there you want to delve into?
Well, yeah, we're going to pick through this whole list once we get going. But, okay, so he in Audition, you do all the editing, and then he creates the MP3, and the MP3 is the final episode?
Indeed, yep, absolutely. Take out the MP3. We host because we've got a few different shows, with clients as well, we host with a few different places. So we've got a couple of shows on Blubrry these days, we've got our main show is with Buzzsprout, and I use transistor.fm as well, Justin and John's place, for a few different smaller shows as well. So that's usually where they end up. Okay.
And do you know the resolution of the MP3? Do you publish in mono or stereo?
Yeah, we do mono, constant bit rate 128 for our kind of higher end shows. So Hostile Worlds, for example, has a lot of music in it, and quite a few voices and effects and stuff. So we put that out at 128 just to make sure it's reasonably high fidelity. Right. But most actually Podcraft would just do 96.
Okay. So, but you do mono.
Indeed, yep. Okay. Well, no, sorry, right. So mono with the main shows, actually Hostile Worlds, we still do stereo because we do some kind of left to right panning and stuff in there just for people walking about and creating the atmosphere of being on the spaceship and everything. I mean, that's partly why I ended up taking on Matthew all those years back, because he's got a background in drama. So that was what his sort of fun thing in university was. He just did a lot of audio drama. So he's all about the soundscaping and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's worth keeping it stereo, relatively high bit rate on that just to make sure it comes through the best.
That's awesome. Sounds like you guys are a good team, because he's not only knows about the audio drama aspects, but he's also doing the technical post-production too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was always kind of geeky about this stuff years back, but I've learned a lot from Matthew actually since he came on 3 years back. So I'm definitely a better producer and techie nowadays than I was before I took him on.
Nice. All right. So you said your studio's in your office. Now, the office is for what company? The podcasthost.com?
Yeah, the podcast host, yes.
Okay. That's awesome. So, yeah, I encourage everyone to go there because I went to your website. I didn't spend that much time there, but there's a lot there. Wow, you got a lot of stuff on your website.
Yeah, we've been writing it for a while. I think there's last count, it was about 540 blog posts. And it's really funny actually, because Matthew and I were having a chat just this morning about next topics to cover. And we always get to the stage where we think, do you know what? There's nothing else to write about. There's just like, we've covered everything. And then the next week there's like, oh yeah, there's 3 things that we haven't covered. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
There's always more. There's always more questions. I mean, we're in a lucky position whereby the site does really well in traffic. Like we get a lot of people through the site. I think it's about 200,000 visitors a month these days.
Oh, wow.
So we get a lot of contact. Like a lot of people get in touch with us through the site. So we're getting questions every single day, and that stuff, that's just gold for us because it's firstly it's fascinating because I love answering the questions that people have for us as in terms of podcasting. I love hearing what people are doing in their podcasts, what they're struggling with, what we can help them with. But it's for the content, that powers everything that we write, that we talk about in the podcast, all that. So yeah, it's great having those people coming on there and just helping us create more good stuff for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And Barry, do you think Colin and Matthew are ever going to run out of topics to write about on their website?
No way. You crazy?
I thought of that sound clip like 3 days ago, and I'm like, I haven't played that one in forever. It's been so long.
No way. You crazy?
Always looking for opportunity.
That's like one of the classics. All right. Anyway, so you got the studio in your office. You got have the 3 Rode Procasters. You have them set up like around a table, and it's everything's ready to go, kind of thing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So I mean, I suppose to explain the office, it was about the same time I took Matthew on. That's when I went full time on the podcast host. The site was just doing well enough. We were getting enough client work. We earned through sort of affiliate and sponsorship as well on the website. So it was all doing well enough that I thought, right, this is it. This is my job now.
Right.
I used to work in education, so I used to work at universities and taught podcasting at a couple of universities in Scotland. But at that point, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to jump into the podcast host as a main thing. So that was when I was looking around, found an office space, and again, it was just fortunate there was a place. It used to be a chocolate factory, actually, funnily enough. Huh. But it was 3 rooms in a bigger industrial space. That was just perfect. There's one big room where Matthew and I sit, and we've got another 2 desks as well, because sometimes we get others coming in, either developers for the app or producers that just help us out. So they can sit in the big main office space, but then through the wall is this smaller room, which we've had fixed up as a studio. So it's all painted black. All the walls are black. We've got soundproofing, sound dampening, loads of tiles up around the walls. I've got it set up. We do a fair bit of video as well, so I film a fair bit for YouTube. So I've got it set up with a nice background and good lighting and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, I have to remember to be grateful for it, because it's so much easier to just come in and record good content when everything's just always set up. It's just always here, and I can play around with different setups and just try different things. So yeah, so it's brilliant. You were asking, I think, about layout there. What we've got actually is, I'll try and describe it. I wonder if it's worthwhile. So I'm facing the long way of the room. There's a couch at the other end, which helps a bit with the sound treatment. But then on the end I'm on, we've got desks in a T-shape. So we've got one desk, which is long ways up the room, and then another desk, which is across horizontally. So it makes a T-shape. And I've got 2 Rode Procasters on the top of the T, and then one Procaster on an arm on the kind of the leg of the T. So 3 of us can sit around all 3 corners of this, almost the triangle of the T.
Right.
And I've got monitors facing me on the long end as well, and the mixer right there. So so I've played around with so many different setups for this, like how it's easy to use both Skype with the monitors and be able to sit around as a group of 2 or 3 people and record in person. And this is the setup that I've come to that's the easiest, I would say. So yeah, I'll be sticking with this for a while.
Right? Yeah. Sounds that's awesome to have everything set up and you can just go and get work done. So you're using the Rode Procaster, and I just want to remind everyone that that's a dynamic mic. Mm-hmm. It is an end address mic, so you speak into the end of it. And it is not USB. It's XLR, so it's a regular microphone. It's a regular dynamic mic. And I like the sound of pretty much all Rode mics. They're just great.
They are, yeah.
But this
They're
one,
just reliable, aren't they? They just do what you expect.
Right. And so this is called the Procaster, and there's also Rode also makes a Podcaster, and the Podcaster is the one it's probably similar to the Procaster, but the Podcaster is USB.
Yeah, I believe it's pretty much exactly the same mic, just with a different output. It's just got the USB output instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I actually have a client who it's the client I have who gets the most downloads, and she does really well. And she's still using an ATR 2100 mic, which is fine. It's good.
Yeah,
she has good mic technique, so it's good, right? I can work with that as an engineer, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, there's some times when I'm, EQing and compressing her voice, and I'm just like, I just wish she had a little better microphone. So someday I'm gonna have to have that conversation with her and say, you know what, this mic has been good for years. Let's take a little step up. But the other thing is, it has to be USB, because I don't even want to she's a person who just wants to plug it in and be ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to mess with interfaces and XLR cables and So.
I think for me it's the best USB mic I've found is the Podcaster, and we use XLR in the studio obviously for all the range of to have 3 mics all plugged in easily. It just makes sense with a mixer and everything. But yeah, the Podcaster's great. Although I used we used Samsung Q2Us in here for a while as well.
Right,
we had 3 of them plugged in, and I think I've never looked at the guts myself, but I've read that they're basically exactly the same mic as the 2100. Almost identical inside. And they're great, aren't they? Because it's the fact that they're XLR and USB, so you've got a bit of flexibility. You can buy them. They're plug and play easy at the start, but if you want to get a mixer, you plug a Q2U or an ATR into that, and then suddenly the preamps in the mixer, for a good mixer, actually makes it sound better. So yeah, they're good mics to grow with, I would say.
Yeah, and I've tried them side by side, the ATR 2100 and the Samsung Q2U.
Ah, really? Okay.
And they are similar, but the Samsung, believe it or not, has more. Well, I want to say significantly more low end.
Oh, really?
But it's not.
Cool.
It's not like maybe it's significant, but it's not a ton more low end. It's just the mic. It's a little bit warmer.
Okay.
And rounder in the bottom.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but I've never got my hands on a 2100 actually, because they're quite hard to get in the UK. The Q2, totally. The Q2U is much more widely available over here, so it's just that's the one I always went with.
I always wondered that, like some certain countries, because I have another previous client who lives in Chile, and he just said to get gear there, you can't get anything, and I'm like thinking to myself, what if? I guess you just can't. I guess it's not legal, for me to just, like if you, for instance, Colin, if you said, hey, I want 3 ATR 2100s, I could buy them, put them in a box, and ship them to you. How's anyone going to know what's in the box?
Yeah, well, that's true. Although, do you know what? I've bought a fair bit of stuff from the US over the years, because there's quite a lot over there that that we can't get here, like the 2100. And I have had a few times customs have opened up the box, checked what's inside, and then sent me a bill for the customs fee for it, even if you don't pay for it, which is kind of crazy. But I suppose it has to be the way. But they do check sometimes.
Yeah, I think everyone should follow the law and don't do anything like this crazy. It's not worth it. Just you know what I mean? Just don't try anything. I wouldn't try anything crazy like that. I was just wondering out loud how.
No, absolutely. I know what you mean. And I've bought stuff exactly like that before, and it's a bit of a lottery whether it gets checked or not. But it's fine though. If they do, basically what happens is they just send you a bill for the tax for it, so it's all good.
I just thought of a service I could offer. I could offer to bring gear from the U.S. and parachute in to these foreign countries, with black stuff on my like a Navy SEAL, and then just deliver it, right? That'd work.
You need to just buy a really long range drone, and then you can fly it from your house to my house and just drop it in the garden, fly back again, and I'll PayPal you the
I'm
fee.
telling you. And then you could just like wander into this field and like look up to the sky and like pretend to have this like alien experience, and then you come back from the field with 3 ATR 2100s.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's probably better than your average alien experience.
Oh man, I'm totally into aliens, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother subject, but
have you got a podcast? You must have a podcast on it then.
No, not that into it.
Okay.
I attend a local meetup that frequently talks about all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that into it. Like,
no, I was a big fan of the X-Files back in the day. So yeah, well, it's a good subject. I'm a big sci-fi geek, so I like anything along those lines.
So, all right, so you got the 3 Procasters plugged into your Yamaha MG10 mixer.
Indeed, yes.
And so the Yamaha MG, I'm going to pull that up now because I always like to see it. So it's not. So is it a USB mixer or no?
No, it's not at all. No, but you do get a USB version of it. So for anyone who wants the USB one, it does exist.
Oh, I see. All right,
I'm pretty sure anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it up here. It says, for here in the US, $154. Looks like it has 4 XLR inputs, a couple stereo channels, and it just looks like a simple mixer.
Do you know what? It's a great little mixer. I've had a bunch of mixers over the years, and in fact, I've got 2 mixers sitting on the shelves in front of me, which are far more advanced, like more inputs, more features, all that stuff. But it gets to the stage where you just need something that works well, and you don't need all the extra bells and whistles. And the MG10, it's got enough, so it's got the 4 inputs, so plenty enough inputs for us. It's got the aux send, so I can do mix minus on it just fine. It doesn't have anything really beyond that, but it's plenty. It does everything I need it to do. And the key thing is actually it's for the price. It's only £120, I think, here. Yeah, so $150, like you say. But it's near silent. For that, usually you get a mixer that's under $200 to $300, and there's always a bit of a hiss. It's just not the greatest preamps in the world. But the MG10 is just near silent. It's just so good. Great noise floor on it.
Oh yeah, great. That's really important. Yeah, that's a great point you made. That a lot of the cheaper mixers, there's just noise. It's like what? Yeah. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah, like I've got even actually some of the more expensive ones. I've got a Behringer Eurorack just facing me on my shelves ahead of me here, and it's one I had years back, and that's like a good. I'm sure that was maybe £300 or so, brand new. But even that, it was still pretty hissy, that one. So yeah, no, I'm glad to find the MG10. It's a great one.
Yeah, Behringer is one of those brands that I can't remember if I've ever owned a Behringer mixer or if I've just used them or if I tried one. I can't even remember, but it just seems that it's just a little lower quality than other brands.
Yeah. I've tried a few of them. I've only owned a couple, but I've tried a few as well, like yourself. And the cheaper ones, certainly. Anything that's under maybe $100, $150, they're pretty rubbish, to be honest. They're pretty hissy. But some of the bigger ones, like we still recommend the 1204, I believe it is, the Xenix 1204. Not like wholeheartedly, because it's still not the best, but for the price and the features it's got, I think it's still decent. But you're right, they're not. We tend to go for like Mackie, possibly. If you're going for a proper decent quality one and you've got a few hundred to spend, I would say Mackie. But again, the Yamaha here is just like so good quality for the price. So yeah, I find it hard to look past that.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up Mackie because I've had many Mackies and I have several right now, and they always seem to be very good quality, like a little bit better than average quality for the money.
Yes.
So
yeah. What are you recording into right now, out of interest?
So I'm actually recording into my computer. So I have my RE20 microphone plugged into my channel strip. I actually have a Neve channel strip, really nice, expensive channel strip. And then that's going into my interface, which is a Sound Devices Mix Pre 6.
Okay.
And then that goes into my computer. And so my main recording is using Audio Hijack in my Mac.
Yeah. Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I've not tried it. Not tried that interface actually. We've worked with a few Focusrites. Really like the Scarlett interfaces. Focusrite 2, 4, 6, whatever inputs you want. And I find them to be like, if you were talking about that client of yours that wanted just simple as anything. So a mixer is just too much, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd go USB. But if somebody we know they want XLR, they want an XLR mic, so they want a really good quality condenser mic. So we can't go USB, but they don't want the complexity of a mixer. I would always give them a Focusrite, because we can just plug the really good mic into the Focusrite. Again, really low noise floor, but USB from the Focusrite straight into the computer. And the Focusrites are just simple as anything, aren't they? They've just got, I think they've just got a gain pretty much on most of them, and maybe a couple of buttons for like pad and stuff like that. So yeah, really like them.
Yeah, the Focusrite interfaces are great, and I love Focusrite in general. So Focusrite, if you're listening, if you want to sponsor the show,
naturally,
that's funny because he might be listening. I'm not gonna call him out by name, but
oh really? See, we do a lot of equipment reviews. That's a big part of our site, and I've tried to get in touch with a lot of the companies over the years, and we have succeeded with some, but not with others. And Focusrite was one that I always had trouble getting in touch with, actually. So we've ended up buying a few of their interfaces to review, but I'd happily take some more free samples to review more of them. So if you're listening,
right? Who knows? I might see him in about a month at Podfest. Well, by the time this comes out, it might be around Podfest. But anyway,
yeah.
The interface I'm using, the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6, is not just an interface though. It's actually a recorder, and it has like mixer capabilities too. So it's and it's nice and small. It's sort of meant to be on the road, but obviously you can use it in the studio. And it's just the quality is ridiculous. Like the Mix Pre 6, it costs $900.
Oh, really? Right.
So and the mic pre's are just, the mic pre's are on another level. You can't
really.
I mean, it's just on another level than like the Focusrite or any of the mixers we're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? When you're talking to podcasters and the stuff we write about the high end stuff being, in the few $100s mark. Right. But I mean, obviously for a proper professional audio studio, that's like Tinker Toys. So yeah, but I mean, that's the range we're working in, because most podcasters don't make a lot of money out of their shows. So. Yeah. And even when you do, I mean, like Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan making millions out of their shows, they're still not on like proper pro kit, are they? Because you don't need to. You're compressing that thing right down when you're putting out anyway, and it's just a conversation. So yeah. There's only a certain level you need to reach, really. Totally.
I always say that. I say, look, if you get decent equipment, like don't buy the $10 microphone.
Yes.
Like buy the $60 ATR 2100. And then just use good mic technique. Like learn how to talk into the mic, and if you do that well, that's it. You're 80%, 85% of the way to perfection just by doing that.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's good fun though. I enjoy writing about that stuff. It's good fun trying it all out. So yeah, definitely a good job to have.
Yeah, I mean, I love it too. I mean, I've been full-time in podcasting industry since 2012. Excellent. So and I just love it. So all right, so you got your Yamaha MG10 mixer, which is nice and clean. And so I'm curious, so you're plugging in the Rode Procasters to the Yamaha MG10 mixer. Now, how much do you have to crank those preamps on the mixer? Do you have to really crank them up, or does the Procaster have a good output?
No, it's certainly with the MG10. I've not tried the Procasters with any of our other mixers yet, but with the MG10, we have to crank it up pretty hard.
Okay.
Like looking over at the gain right now, it's on the sort of 3 o'clock, so 75% at least level, which is much higher than we used to have to do the Q2Us, which I remember plugging into this, and the MXL. But then that's a condenser, so it's a different thing. But
3 o'clock
is pretty hard.
3 o'clock is usually okay, like. Because usually the knob goes up to about 5 o'clock. So 3 o'clock is usually, like even on the Focusrite 2i2s, like when you plug in, like I do have a client who uses an ATR 2100 into a Focusrite 2i2, and he doesn't talk very loud. So, but I did coach him to get close to the mic, which is good. but still he needs a lot of gain. So we have to crank up his Focusrite 2i2 to almost 4 o'clock.
Oh, really? Right.
But if you turn it up any more, then it starts to distort, right? So like we had to find that sweet spot where, you're giving it a lot of gain, but you're not distorting it. So for you, 3 o'clock, turning the mic pre to 3 o'clock, that's not so bad.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I'm used to with the old mics that we used being at sort of 12 at midday on the gain dial, because we never needed to push them that hard. So yeah, it was a surprise to me when we first set it up. But yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah. And then of course, if you ever did need or want more gain, you can just get one of those FET heads, which I haven't tried yet, but they're supposed to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've got a cloud lifter here actually.
Oh,
we did a review of it a while back. It wasn't me that did it; it was Matthew that did it. So I don't know that much about it, but I know he liked it. I know he thought it was it was really good.
Yeah, so the cloud lifter, just so everyone knows, the cloud lifter and the FET head are these little items that they boost the gain of the microphone, maybe 15 or 20 or 25 dB before it even goes into the mic preamp. So we're talking about Colin's Rode Procaster going into his Yamaha mixer and him turning the preamp up to 3 o'clock. Well, if he had a FET head or if he used the cloud lifter, you plug the mic into the cloud lifter, then you come out of the cloud lifter into the Yamaha mixer, and then instead of having to turn it up to 3 o'clock, he might only have to turn it up to 11 or 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Do you know, I need to give that a shot because we've got it lying around here somewhere. That'd be good to try out.
Right? There you go. Do a video on that.
Yeah.
How often do you put out videos?
I'm trying to do them once a week right now.
Once a week, okay.
Yeah. So our YouTube channel does pretty well. We've got 1,000 something subscribers, so not like massive, but not too bad. And that's with pretty sporadic videoing of the last year or two. But this year, I decided first quarter of this year, I want to get out one a week and just see how that grows.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the attempt. Over the next few months, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's pretty good on YouTube. I mean, we're not all Bandrew Scott from Podcastage. I mean, the Podcastage channel. In fact, I was telling my wife about this. Hold on, I'm going to look this up. I was telling my wife how Bandrew is doing great and all this, and then I said, "Yeah, his YouTube." Oh, I don't know. You could probably hear that. Podcast. Greetings, Earthlings. Right, dude. He has 92,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah,
Bandrew from Podcastage. Dude, 92,000. That's awesome.
That is Bandrew's cool. Great. I've never come across that at all. I'm gonna have a look through this.
Yeah, look through this. He makes videos about all kinds of stuff, but yeah, kind of focused on podcasters, but also streamers and video people. But it's more studio stuff. He doesn't do much on location, but all kinds of gear, reviews of everything, and he does a great job.
That's really cool. Yeah. But that's a good idea. I mean, that's the little things. That's what I need to do more of is, like you say, just a wee video of the difference between having a cloud lifter plugged in and not. That's the kind of thing that people are interested in. So and it doesn't take much to set up, does it?
Right. Yeah. No. Well, yeah, if you have the studio and you're all set up to do it, that's great. The problem is like when you don't have an office and a studio and then you're like, you just have to do everything from scratch. That's a lot.
Yeah, it takes too long.
I mean, I'm contemplating putting out a monthly video of me going over plugins. So
okay,
yeah, I kind of in my old email list, which I still have it, but I don't email every month anymore. But I used to put like a plugin of the month, and just a little describe a different plugin each month and what it does and all that. So I was thinking about making one video a month. I do want to do that. In fact, I'm going to start that soon. So if you're listening, if you have any plugins that you want me to make a video about, send me a message or contact me.
What would they normally be for? Is it what is it you're working with the plugins?
Well, the plugins are basically for post-production. So within my DAW, you can buy these third-party plugins, which are really awesome, like EQs and compressors and de-essers and channel strips. And then you use those to process the audio.
Sorry. And which DAW are you working with there?
I'm currently using Reaper, and I have been for a long time, and Reaper is really, really good in many ways. if Adobe Audition was cheaper, I'd probably use Adobe Audition, but
Yeah.
I don't have the Creative Cloud or whatever they call it now. So it's like,
it's expensive.
yeah. I mean, I guess for $20 a month, I could probably get it, but even that, it's like, I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to compare to Reaper being, though, what is it, $40, $50 or something as a one-off price. So it's some difference.
Well, actually, Reaper is you never have to pay. You can use the full version forever. You just, like, every now and then there'll be a pop-up saying, hey, do you want to, your free trial's over. Do you want to buy it? And you just click no or something. And then you just keep using it. But it's, look, it's good to give, I think it's $60. It's good to give $60 to those guys, right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, come on.
3 months worth of Adobe Audition.
Yeah, and use it for life. And well, there's a professional level too, which is, I don't know, is it $250 for Reaper?
Ah, really? Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
I want to do where we've got a review scheduled in for Reaper, actually, because it's not something I've used at all, but we work with Matt Boudreau from, he runs, what's the name of the show he runs again? Oh, I've totally blanked on the name of his show now. He does a lot of audio drama stuff.
Okay.
And he uses Reaper for everything. So he's going to write a review for us on Reaper, actually, for the website. So I'm looking forward to reading that, actually, to give myself a good rundown of what the pros and cons of that package are.
Yeah, Reaper is one of those DAWs where people, for some reason, it's not very respected. Like, people just think Reaper, it's not that good or whatever. But Reaper is one of the best. So much functionality, so many different plugin suites you can use. It's hard to even talk about how good it is because there's so much to it. But here's the thing: for podcasting, you won't use 95% of that, right?
Really? Yeah. Kind
because
of overkill.
You're just going to use, tracks. You're going to use some effects plugins. You might do some routing, like subgrouping and stuff like that, but probably not. And you might put an effect on your master bus for, like a master bus compressor. I mean,
well, it's funny that, isn't it? Because it's kind of one of those eternal debates in podcasting. Which DAW should you use? Which one should you use? And it's everything from Audacity, obviously being the free option, right up to Audition and Pro Tools and all that. But you're right. Like, even Audacity, which is a free package, podcasters don't use 90% of it. So it kind of comes down to just using the one you like the best, like the one that looks the best or feels the best to you. It's actually a big part of why we built Alitu in the end, because so many people came to us and said that they tried Audacity, they tried Audition, they tried Reaper, and there was just so much in there that they felt overwhelmed right away.
Yeah.
They just want to get the levels right. They just want to get they want to see a volume control. Right. Just make my volume right. But obviously that's not what it's called in the DAW. So we wanted to build something that was just like, it was more plain English. It's just the language that normal people speak. Because most podcasters don't care about decibels and leveling and compression and all that. They just want it to sound good. So that was kind of our thinking behind it.
Totally. That makes total sense. And I think you're onto something there, because that's the future. The future is where you can sort of make a lot of the engineering stuff like invisible.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And then
and there'll always be need for engineers, for people who want to go beyond that. People who want to make more than just a basic interview show or solo show or whatever. But yeah, there's so many people out there who want to just try it and experiment with it in the first place, and all they need is the kind of simple settings at that point, I would say.
Yeah. Although that's one of the weird things about podcasting is, like, did I mention this on a previous episode? I think I might have, or somewhere I was talking to somebody, maybe Ralph M. Rivera. By the way, Ralph M. Rivera and we might start a new show. It's kind of like a goof show, but anyway, I gotta. I'm not ready to announce that. But
no,
anyway,
on, announce it.
Well, I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
The next presidential election in the United States is the fall of 2020.
Okay.
That's the hint.
And it'll be related. Yeah.
Barry, do you think Ralph and Chris are going to run for president?
No way. You crazy?
We might be. We might be. Okay. So anyway, it's like a weird, in podcasting, there's this weird thing that happens where like everybody wants to make podcasting easy so that all these new people can come in and start their podcast. And I love that idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the companies try to make it easy, and the people also don't want to do very much. They just want to like hold their phone to their face and talk or something, right?
Yeah.
And inevitably, the quality you get from that kind of process is not usually even close to what you can get when people have real microphones and real production and all that. So, so the new person comes in and they create their podcast, and then they listen to it and they're like, oh man, this doesn't sound that good. And like, so my point is they're not inspired to keep going, keep going. And oh yeah, this is awesome. And this and that. Like, so it's a, I don't know. That's just the reality. I mean, do you kind of see it that way too?
So I know exactly what you mean. It does happen, absolutely. And I think I'm trying to combat that though for example, we've got a ton of free resources. One of our most popular articles on the website is about our best podcast microphones recommendations, and we talk about what it takes to hit that minimum level. So we don't say you have to spend £200 on a mic, but we do say it is worth, as you said earlier, Chris, it is worth spending $60 on a mic rather than $20. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you've got that decent base, then actually you don't have to do that much to it from there. Like even if you do no processing from there, you'll still sound a lot better than a $20 mic with like pro processing. So, we're kind of trying to set people up with that base level that is simpler to do. So with Alitu, for example, we try and teach them through the academies. We've got our courses in the academy. We've got our free resources on how to set yourself up with a decent basic kit. That means that you've got really good source material. And with that, we can use Alitu's automated processing and stuff to make it sound great. So that's our kind of intention of getting around that. So people who do want to make it really simple, really easy, then all you have to do is get this basic kit set up, and then we can do the rest. We can work with that because we can process that into something that sounds great for you. So that's the intention. But I know what you mean. It's hard sometimes.
That makes sense, and it makes sense that Alitu is a web app, because then you're on a computer and you could plug in a USB mic and stuff. But I guess in a way I was thinking more of Anchor, where
I just recording straight into your phone mic.
Like I think there's no other way to get your audio into Anchor except through your phone. Now you could, for instance, you could have a mixer, you could have 4 people sitting around a table, all all 4 mics going into the mixer, and then you take one output of the mixer and run it into your phone, into Anchor. You could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But who's going to do that?
Totally. Or even as simple as, we use going back to Rode again, they make good kit, the Rode SmartLav. Have you used the SmartLav Plus much?
I have not, but I heard it's awesome.
It is. It's a really good little mic, and it's £50 in the UK. I think it's about $50 too in the US. So it's like it's cheap. It's not that much money, but you plug that into your mobile phone, and suddenly your smartphone actually can record really good audio. And even better, they've got their little it's the SC6 adapter. So you plug that into your phone's mic input, and then you can put 2 SmartLavs into that. So you can have 2 SmartLavs, do a 2-person interview, and suddenly you've just got your phone sitting there on the table. You've got a SmartLav on you, a SmartLav on the other person, and you've got this really good quality conversational interview just straight into your smartphone for under $100 usually. It's just really good quality.
So I wonder, is the Rode SmartLav, is it an omnidirectional mic?
Do you know? I don't know off the top of my head. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, it's not the best in a noisy environment, but it's decent. It's not bad for background noise, actually.
Yeah, it is omnidirectional, which means that it picks up audio from all directions. And most lavs are, actually.
Yeah.
Most lavs are omnidirectional. Some are, basically cardioid pattern, so you can sort of point it up at like clip it to their shirt and then point it up toward their mouth, and it'll pick up their voice more than the background noise. But yeah, smart lav.
Yeah, you always have to be kind of careful with a lav mic. I've found even cardioid pattern ones are not like they're still. I actually bought 2 of the Boya ones, the Boya XLR lav mics, and they sell them as Omni and Cardioid. So I got the two to test them, and do you know, I haven't done it yet. I need to do that soon. But I want to do a comparison. Yeah, totally. Oh, it is, yes. You're arming me with all sorts of content for the next one.
Yeah, the other thing with lavs too, just because we're it came up, so we'll talk about it, is
absolutely.
Like if you were going to have two people sitting across from each other, both wearing lavs, like the lavalier mic, like when you clip it to your shirt, it's still usually about, I don't know, 10 inches, 12 inches from your mouth.
Yeah, close to a foot. Absolutely.
Or maybe you can get it closer, but the closer you put it up on your shirt, the more it's like under your chin kind of thing.
Yes.
So, but anyway, my point is that if the mic is, let's say it's 10 inches away from your mouth, then you're going to have to crank the level, and then there's going to be a lot more bleed from the other person speaking that's going to go into your mic.
Yeah.
So, and then if you have two lavs, then both voices are going to go into both lavs. There's going to be significant bleed. That's my point.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're never as good as handhelds or like a good dynamic sort of big mic, are they? But I think they're great in certain situations. They're great for those kind of one-to-one interviews where you're out and about and you're just in a coffee shop or at an event or something like that. We've used them a lot for that kind of thing. I
have ideas about an invention. I actually have a lot of ideas about inventions.
Okay.
Like things I want to invent. Like I want to invent all kinds of stuff. But the thing is, I mean, if I was a billionaire, I could do it, right? I could actually hire people and say, look, start working on this. But I don't have anything. So, but one of my inventions was going to be some sort of, not a lav, and not like a hat, but some way to attach a microphone to a person where it would pick up their voice really well and reject everything else. And also it would be like, not like a typical wireless mic where there's like a body pack that you got to wear. Like you got to put it in your pocket and attach the mic to that, and then that's wireless. Like somehow where it's like you just clip it somewhere, and it's really good audio, and then everyone could just forget they're wearing it, right? And then
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the big advantage of the labs, isn't it? Like it suddenly makes the interview so much less intimidating. I always tend to get better content from a lav mic interview just because the person can use their hands, they can sit normally. Just like you say, they forget they've got it on, so they just have a chat. They don't go into this formal, oh, hello, this is my radio voice. I'm speaking completely different from the way I normally do. It's weird, which is weird and always happens. So they're good for that kind of thing, I would say.
So I want to ask Barry here. So Barry, when Ralph M. Rivera gets on his mic, he does the Web Search Social podcast, right? When he gets on the mic, clearly he puts on his radio voice. But what do you think that sounds like when Ralph's on the mic?
There's no activity, no giggle, no nothing.
All right. Well, I know Ralph's listening. So Ralph, you heard it straight from Barry's mouth.
You got to listen.
Ralph always listens. All right, let's move on to your Zoom H5 and H6. So you come out of your Yamaha mixer, you record into the Zoom. You said in the studio you normally just use the H5?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, because we keep the H6 for out and about. So if we have the H5 all plugged in the studio, then that's it's just always there, always set up.
Okay. And you just run, stereo out of the mixer into the Zoom H5.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And so for levels on that, how careful are you with levels? Because I own a Zoom H6, and like I know that the mic pre's, like getting the right level is not as easy as some other recorders because it's a little sensitive. Sort of. Yeah,
it is definitely. Yeah, I mean, I find that with our usual setup, with the mixer setup, the way we always use it, if I put the H5 over, say, 5 on the dials, you've got the two little stereo dials on the H5. If you put them over about 5, it gets really hissy actually. So yeah, I always have it set about 4, and that tends to work well.
And but the level on the meter is still good, strong.
Yeah, that's us. Well, right now I'm looking at the dials. We're both hitting about -12 right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about perfect.
All right. Yeah, I would crank it higher. I'm a
Oh yeah. Go hot.
I run
Go
my
hot.
levels. I like running my levels hot, baby.
Yeah. We I suppose when Matthew and I are recording, we laugh probably too much, so we tend to leave quite a bit of headroom just in case.
Yeah, that's really good though. That's great because especially with the zoom, because that's one of the things with the zoom is like if you even go near zero, it literally starts to distort a little. So if you leave, that's good on a zoom to leave that much headroom. I like that.
Yeah, I've always found it fine, and we can bring it up in Audition, and it doesn't introduce too much of the background noise or the noise floor. So yeah, it's all good at that.
Right, and you're recording in 24-bit or 16.
Check. Yes, indeed, 24-bit and just a WAV file recording just now, 44.1K.
Yep,
24-bit. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, 24-bit's awesome. So 24-bit. Even if your level is a bit low, it's still totally fine.
Yeah, you've got that dynamic range to bring it up if you need to.
Yeah, because the resolution is so much higher than 16-bit that when you turn it up later, it'll still be really high resolution. Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't quite understand all that stuff until maybe about a year ago when I talked about Matt Boudreau, and he wrote a set of articles for us on the sort of real inner workings of audio, and he explained, the sample rate, the bit rate, all the differences between the whole thing, and it just made so much more sense at that point.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the Zoom Zoom H6 when you go on location, what mics do you use on location? Or do you just record on the H6?
No, we record with mics, yes. I'll take handheld mics. We've got a set of Q2Us actually. So we just take the Q2Us that I used to have in the studio. So I've got, I think, 4 of them lying about just now. So I'll take them with me, plug them in via XLR.
Okay. And what about stands? Like, are you like sitting somewhere talking with someone, or are you just kind of?
Yeah, usually around a table. Yeah, so it'll be with the Q2Us. The good thing is you get a little stand with it in the pack. So just a wee basic plastic thing.
Yeah,
like too fancy. Yeah. So they're not ideal because they're a wee bit low. So you do find people ending up sort of crunching over a little bit.
Yeah.
The trouble is though with them, they're the what do you call it? Handheld noise, the handling noise. That's what I'm trying to say. Is a bit too loud with the Q2U. So we do need the stands. But do you know what? I've thought actually recently about upgrading to just getting myself. I've got one Shure SM58, which obviously the handling noise and that's great. Like you can wave it about and barely hear a thing. And I've thought about getting another 2 or 3 of them just for on location stuff. So I might actually do that in the next few months.
Yeah, or even getting some little short stands, like a stand like the one you get with the Q2U, but a little bigger and a little heavier.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I could probably almost certainly find something that would be a bit extendable, that's still transportable.
Yeah, that's the thing, transportable, because I've bought several of those stands. They're like a foot or a foot and a half high.
Yeah.
And like the base of it is like this 10-pound concrete circle thing, which is awesome. But yeah, if you gotta bring 3 of them into a building,
and then you've got 4 of them you're carrying around.
You need like a like a hand truck at that point.
Yeah. Do you know what we've got a Rode, the Rodecaster, the new one that's come out. We got one of those for review, and it came with a set of stands, and the stands are like bricks, but they're designed to hold the Procaster, so they have to be, because the Procaster weighs a ton as well. So that bag has 2 Procasters, a Rodecaster, and 2 of these desktop stands that do weigh like 2 kilograms each or something. So that thing is it's a killer. You can't carry it. You have to. You say you do need a trolley. It's ridiculous, but it's good. It's good quality kit.
Right, that's good. All right, so then you got right now you're plugged into the Mac Mini, and that's how you're sending your voice to me and chatting with you.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Okay, and it's interesting. You're coming out of the mixer into the Mac Mini, and you're like so. One thing, just to tell everyone, when we first connected on Zencastr, in fact, it's still there now, obviously, but when I look, it says that your microphone, it says line in, which is, and in parentheses, built in.
Yeah,
And I was asking you right when we connected, like, what interface are you using? This and that, and so then you had to explain to me that you're going right from your mixer into the line in.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But you're only using the Mac Mini to talk to me. You're actually recording your voice locally on the H5 right now.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So the Mac Mini doesn't need to like get top quality or anything. It's really just the communication.
Right.
And it's what is it now? I can't remember the name of that cable is now. Actually, it's 2/4 inch basically output. It's the AUX. Oh no, it's a single 1/4 inch actually. So TS. Out from the AUX, send from the MG10, and that goes into the 3.5mm jack on the Mac Mini, and that's what lets us do the because that was the other thing, wasn't it? I was feeding back to you because I'd forgotten to set up my Mix Minus.
Right.
I forgot to turn down my AUX send on the computer, so you were hearing yourself back. But that's set up now. So yeah, that's how we do it. And the Mac Mini output comes back into channel 10 on the mixer, so it's just a wee loop coming back there.
That's cool, and that works. So do you bring people, like when you're in your studio and you want to interview someone on Skype or something, that's the setup you use?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we record direct to the H5 via the Mac Mini. Yep. Right,
so that's good. I like that. Nice and simple.
Yeah, it's nice and simple. Yeah, it does. It works really well. Good quality, and we actually use. So we're using Zencastr right now, aren't we? But I've used Ringer a fair bit in the past. It's the same tool basically, and it works really well with this actually because I get the Procaster quality into my end on the Zencastr recording, but get theirs on the other end. So it's cool.
Right, and so when you're there with Matthew, and there's someone. You're connected on the computer with someone on Ringer, let's say.
Yeah.
So you're running your two local voices through the mixer into the H5, and then the guest on the Mac Mini through the mixer into the H5. But the H5 only has 2 tracks, so you're basically recording in stereo?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So we can pan. So normally when it's me and Matthew just recording the two of us, we've got both of us panned left and right. So we've got it individually. So the stereo turns into really a 2-channel recording. But you're right. If we've got a Skype recording or a third person in the studio, we just have to have at least 2 voices on one of the channels on the H5. Yeah.
So one way around all that, just because it came to mind, I'll just tell everyone because it applies. If you had a mixer that actually had direct outputs for each channel, then you could on the back of the mixer take out channel 1, take out channel 2, take out channel 3, which would be, let's say you're on 1, Matthew's on 2, and the Mac Mini's on 3. Take all the direct outputs and then instead of using your H5, use your H6. Plug in all 3 separately and record 3 tracks separately.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Or that's the downside of the MG10, I suppose. We've only got a stereo output or the AUX. So we have to combine them.
Right. So then if you connect via Ringer, then so wait, how do you combine them? Do you pan you and Matthew to the left and your guest to the right?
That's what we would normally do. Yeah. Because I can manage Matthew and I really easily on the mixer because I've got both of us going into the mixer. So maybe pan both of us left, and then I'll pan the Skype or the Ringer call right, and then we get at least a bit of individual control afterwards.
Right. So then let's say you do that, and then so there's on the left track is you and Matthew together, and on the right is your guest on Ringer.
Yes.
Do you download their file from Ringer later and use that instead of what's panned right, which is the live feed of them?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm going for full quality, that's what we'll do. Like I've done a fair few interviews recently for a video games podcast we're working on, and I've done them all proper high quality on Ringer, and it's been really good actually. It works well, similar to what you're doing in Zencastr, obviously. I mean, at that point, I suppose we're not really using the H5 recording. Actually, no, we are, because I'll still use the H5 recording from my side. Right. But I'll use their Ringer recording. So Ringer will send us both sides, but I'll disregard my one because I don't really need that. Right. And just use their side to replace the one in the H5.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm really happy we could go through all this. I really like your setup. And like I said earlier, when, who knows, when my wife and I visit Scotland, might have to drop by and all that. But
no, definitely. You'd be welcomed by the studio. We can record a show live. That'd be excellent.
That's right. Have all the maniac listeners tune in and type things.
Indeed.
So any last words, Colin? Anything you want to just leave us with or remind us of?
No, I mean, I would say it's great to get to talk the proper sort of geeky details because, like I said, like we've talked about a little bit already, I mean, most of the time we're encouraging people to keep everything simple. Just keep things as simple as you can because that's usually the biggest barrier to recording, isn't it? Like something will break or a setting won't be quite right and you'll end up spending half an hour trying to fix that as opposed to recording.
Right.
So we tend to keep things simple as possible. But, sometimes it's quite fun playing around with really advanced kit and interesting stuff. So it's good fun to get to talk about it. So yeah, but I would say to the listener, if you're listening out there, I'm sure if you listen to Chris's show, then you already know this, but make sure you get a few shows under your belt before you upgrade so that you've got the content down and then you go for the shiny gear. That's how we usually talk about it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So, all right, all the links are going to be in the show notes. thepodcasthost.com, your show Podcraft, and your other show, Hostile Worlds, and you have other shows on there as well, and on the website as well. And of course, the podcast app, Alitu.com. The links are going to all be in the show notes. And so, all right, so we'll start the ending, but here's the thing. At the very end, Colin, we're both going to yell, sound great.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, but here's the thing. Since you're using an H5, I want to do an experiment this episode.
Okay.
I want you to yell, sound great, so loud and so close to the microphone that you distort the H5.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Can we try it? Can we try to distort
absolutely.
the H5?
Yeah. Let's do it.
I mean, sometimes you got to test the limits of your gear. All right, well, Colin Gray, thank you so much for being on the show, man. We'll definitely hook up again in the future. And thanks, everybody, for listening to the Podcast Engineering Show. Obviously, our website. We have the course. We have all that. So, really, thanks for listening. Let me know your feedback on the in-between weeks, the daily goodie recaps and all that. So, all right, until next time, Colin. All right, go. Sound great! Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Walk away from me, well, and you can't play that part so well. What you're playing out on me now?